Hey everybody! Hey, Scores are here. That's a fake name I've given myself. uh, we're going to go through the games for tonight. I got quite a few of them. I set this up last night, and I don't know what has changed, but what I'd like to do on this on these pregame shows is keep everything the same and then modify as we go. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go to this first game here, Michigan State in High Point. And last night the line was 22 and a half. Now, if it changes and it changes our pick, we're going to change it here. That's why I like to record these. So just get it down on record what the picks were. Then tonight, when we go through, we'll see how well the computer did. So let's go take a look at this game, Michigan State and High Point. And here's where we're also going to find out how many games have been canceled. Uh, just because of the beer flu. Okay, so Michigan State land 22 and a half. So that has not changed. We performed a computer prediction, and it said that Michigan State should beat High Point by 26. So we're going to stick with Michigan State here. So if this is the first time, this is the computer predicted score. So I run these after all the games we played the previous night to set up the next day. So I'll run these, take a look at the line, and then make our pick. So highlighted in yellow and with the box around it is our pick. Okay, so Utah State and Air Force. Let's take a look at that. It's Air Force getting 11 and a half. Oops, heck, I don't know what I meant to do there. So Air Force getting 11 and a half. So like it or not, that's the line, since I don't know what that was. So we like that. Utah State on the road. Well, Air Force just has turned south. I don't know if home court's going to help them much, but we say Utah State beats Air Force by 20, and that's going to cover that 11 and a half. So we're going to stick with that as our play. This was interesting. Buffalo's pretty good. Computers seem to really like Miami of Ohio here. So let's see if this has changed. It was 7.5. And Buffalo's still 7.5. So we're going to stick with this. We're going to take the dog here. Miami of Ohio, the computer thinks it's going to give Buffalo kind of a fight. It's only half a point there. This happens all the time. Vegas and I are just in agreement here. So there was no line on TCU and Texas Southern. Let's see if that has changed. I'm looking at CBS Sports doing their they have the pairings and the lines together in one spot, so it's easy to work with. TCU and Texas Southern, so I don't see them on here. So let's see if that's a victim of and it's been canceled. Okay, so that's going to go dark. That game has been canceled. And there's been a lot of games that have been canceled. This is ugly just for a moment here. A lot of games have been canceled. It's just, it's becoming a farce is what it's becoming. And that wasn't it. Let's do this one. The wrong one. Let's try this one. There we go. All right. So this is becoming way too common, these cancellations. It's really something that it just really gets to me. We're getting a shortened season here, and it's just in dribs and drabs. It's just driving me crazy. There's already been a bunch that were already canceled or postponed prior that I didn't even list. These are in addition to those. All right, Kent State and Central Michigan. Let's see if these guys get to play. Okay, that's still on. So Kent State at home laying 15.5 to Central Michigan. Not a good team. Really not a good team. So I don't think that's going to be any trouble at all for Kent State to beat Central Michigan by 15.5 at home. To me, that's an easy call. Okay, Mississippi State and Arkansas, which I was surprised. Mississippi State laying 3.5. See, they agree with me. I think Mississippi State's a better team than Arkansas. Now they're at home, laying 3.5. Computer says 4. I was a little bit surprised. So we're going with Mississippi State here, and bucking the national talking point, I guess, that Arkansas is, top 25 team. Not seeing it so far. Okay, DePaul and Butler. We're on the other side of the line here. So Butler laying 1.5. I just want to illustrate something to you. I hope I can do a good job of this. We're going to go look at Butler. And this is, if we haven't seen, this is the computer. And in it, we are logging all the scores and running them through our calculations. I can get into that in a minute here. But this is Butler. I'm not sold on Butler. In fact, they just lost to Purdue 77-48. They've scored 545 points and allowed 552. They're 5-4, but on a kind of a weak schedule. I just don't know that I'm sold on Butler. In fact, I know I'm not. Here's IUPUI, horrible. They beat them by 9? Central Arkansas. They've really had an easy schedule. Okay, they got them pretty good on that one. Troy, that's respectable. They just lay down and said, we give up. Houston, of course, these are monsters. Michigan State and Houston are both monsters. But yeah, Texas A&M came a little bit of a struggle. Actually beat Oklahoma at Oklahoma, which is shocking. But this is not a good team, folks. Eastern Illinois, this should have been 30 points, So not sold on Butler. That is for sure. Let's get back to the page here. Try not to do too much of this because I realize that the graphics on Google Docs don't play well with these videos, and some of these things look pretty bad. But for some reason, Butler was giving DePaul a 0.5 point last night. That puts us on. So we say DePaul 71-52, a 19-point victory. So that puts us on the other side of the line, which makes this a money line opportunity, and that's why it's highlighted in green. So let's go see if Vegas has come to its senses yet. And I know it's because they're at home. No, they doubled down. Now it's 1.5 points, and we're going to take it. We're going to take this. Money line play and they're throwing points at us. Yeah, we're going to take that. DePaul's going to win this game. But this home court advantage thing, it's I've been doing a little study, and it's for real. I mean, it's for real. And I was given the home team 5 points, and it flipped some of my picks good and flipped some of them bad. And it was about a wash. Now, 5 points, maybe that's not enough. Maybe it needs to be 8 points is the home court advantage. And I've seen that. You can make an argument for that. But I'm just going to stick with what the computer puts out. And I'm going to, take my lumps, learn from it, maybe adjust going forward. But I'm not adding any kind of home court advantage. And I'll show you real quick. Here is how we do the prediction. So I did Washington State and University of Washington, and I put in the games played, points for, points against, so that obviously we can average those. And then I do a little magic here with my OPRs, which the overall power rating of each team, and it just spits out a score. Now hidden here, I've got the string calculation, and there is a place. Probably shouldn't try and do this live. Yeah, there we go. There is a place to put a home court advantage in my little string here. Right there. HCA is home court advantage. And I've opted not to, okay? Zeros, but it's there. It's there if I wanted it. But just based on my research, I don't think I want it. Let's see, how did I do this? I want to hide that. We'll come back to that. Anyway, so this is how we put the teams in. Average offense, average defense. This is a little adjustment I make about when this average offense meets this average defense, and this average offense meets that average So I put a little adjuster in there, and I adjust it a little further. I divide the OPRs. So 8.41 divided by 10.52 gets you 0.799. I take that adjusted score, I multiply it times that factor, and it gets me a raw score. And then I bump them up or down here, make it a real score I can live with. 73.45 to 53.1. So it ain't going to fly in Vegas. We need a real live score here. So that's how the system works. And just to double check, 73-53. Let's run down to Washington State and Washington. It's a final game of the evening. And if they're going to let them play, you see 73-53. Okay, so I take whatever that thing spits out, I put it in our pick, and then we just go with it. Okay, back to the action here. So Purdue at home to Nichols. I know they're Nichols State, but I think they want to be Nichols, or I don't know. I just call them Nichols. And it's 28.5. So that went up. I beat it by 26.5 to 28.5. So we're going to keep that line there. And Purdue should prevail here comfortably, 33 points. So I have a sneaky suspicion Penn State, Delaware State's probably not going to get played. And yeah, it looks like that has been. And really, no need to see this game. It's a shame. I want all games to be played, but Delaware State was not going to be competitive in this one. And that's just a fact, folks. So we're going to darken that. And unfortunately, we have to take that off our list. Akron and Bowling Green, same thing. There was no line last night, which I have, it's postponed, which I've seen as something that translates into a postponement or a cancellation. But I don't get these lines the previous night. Now these can still, even though they get the lines on them, they can still go postponed on us. All right, what was that? Syracuse. Okay, so Syracuse at home laying 14.5 to Cornell. We're still live. Okay, taking the dog here. We're taking the dog here. Computer says it's a 10-point game. Again, this is where that home court advantage could come into play, but we're sticking with what we're working with here, and we're going to take the dog Cornell and hope for a 10-point game. Bryant and Central Connecticut, and that has been postponed or canceled. It just kills me to see this. It's just ridiculous. Fully ridiculous. That comes off the board. Delaware and UNC Wilmington. There they are. Okay, so Wilmington getting 4.5 at home. They were getting 3.5. I'd rather beat it. We're taking the visiting Delaware. I'd rather beat them by 3.5 to 4.5. So we're going to stick with this as our call, and we think it's going to be a 12-point victory for Delaware. So that Delaware is our play. Morehead State and Eastern Illinois, and that's still on as of right now, this moment. Morehead State laying 18.5, and that hasn't changed. And this is not a good team. They're really not good. 28 points is Morehead's our play. Georgia at home to Gardner-Webb, still on 4.5. Georgia, Gardner-Webb getting 4.5. We say it's going to be a 6-point game. That's surprising here. Thought that would be more. We think Georgia's going to win and cover here, so that's our play, Georgia. Hofstra and William and Mary. Again, Hofstra really getting to be a good team. They've had some good victories. They beat Arkansas on the road. And who else did? Let's go take a look at Hofstra. They're in the Colonial. Again, try not to do this too much, but it's interesting to look at some of these teams. So there's Hofstra. So they're 852 points for, 839 again, 6-5. But I think they're turning the corner here a little bit, because here's the win at Arkansas by 8 on the road at Arkansas. And Monmouth is a good team. Out of the MAC, it's going to be the Iona Monmouth show up there this year. and it's going to get good. 77-71 beat a really good Monmouth team on the road. Now they get a horrible William and Mary. And when I say horrible, folks, they field a Division I men's basketball team. That's about the best I can say for William and Mary. 0-12. They've scored 7-11, allowed about 900. Hofstra could start their subs and win by 25. Yeah, just William and Mary is not in a good situation. I probably shouldn't be such a jerk about it. But 13.5 is kind of laughable based on that. So let's see if that's changed. So Hofstra, now it's 15.5. All that being said, we're going to keep the 13.5 because that's a lower number. I'd rather beat them by 13.5 than 15.5. But clearly people were taking the bait and the line moved. Big two full points on that because people jumped on it. We say it's going to be a 29-point victory. Sacred Heart and Long Island. They're still on. We got a line. Okay, Sacred Heart laying 1.5. Where am I? Sacred Heart. Okay, so Long Island getting 1.5. Ooh, this is interesting. That's right. Doing this, I was wondering if Vegas would see what I was seeing. It looks like they did because, Sacred Heart's not bad. But to only be favored by 1.5 over Long Island U at home, that tells you more about Long Island than it does about Sacred Heart. So it's a 1-point game. We're getting 1.5, and we're going to take the dog here. I like that play. Because Long Island, Long Island can put up some points in a hurry. So we like that play. So we're on board now, officially taking the dog here, Long Island. This, folks, is as good as college basketball is going to get. LSU at home to Auburn, or Auburn and LSU. So computer loves LSU, and I'll point out the fact that the computer really loves LSU. We have them number 1 right now, with a little bit of distance between the number 2 teams, Houston and Arizona, that are tied at. These are the OPRs, but that's a monster. If I've ever seen a monster, we're going to go look at LSU, and we're going to look at Auburn while we're in the SEC. But folks, when I say monster, okay, here's LSU. I mean, they just have been completely dominating every opponent. Has there been a close game? I guess you can call that a 5-point game against Penn State, quality opponent. 6-point game, a quality opponent in Wake Forest. Here we're 15. We're 16, and we're 40. La Tech's a good team, and that's in-state deal. I believe that was at a neutral court, like an hour from La Tech and like 3 hours from Baton Rouge. But this, folks, is monstrous. 12-0, 955 points for, 649 against. Loves it. Look at this. So here's Missouri. Missouri has allowed more points than they've scored. This D/O, which again, we're taking the defense, dividing it by offense. If you've allowed more than you scored, you're going to be above 1.0. Okay. Then we take this and we multiply it times the strength of schedule. So it's how many did you score, how many did you allow, and who did you play? And that determines our overall power rating. Okay. So they played 10.36. They've allowed more than they've scored. They have not met and exceeded the level of competition. In fact, they've not done that at all. So they're going to be north of 1.0 here. Okay. Not a good team. Here's Mississippi State. We already talked about them. We like them. 890 to 737. 0.83. So they're below the line. So they've scored more than they've allowed. So this is below 1.0. Okay. 0.83. We really like Mississippi State. We like them a lot. Look at 0.68. That is a monster. 0.83 is fantastic. 0.68 is out of this world good. 955 points scored, 649 allowed, 12-0. They played a moderately decent schedule. 0.68 is fantastic. At this point in the season, that's clearly the best team in the nation, according to how we do things here. So here's Auburn, 11-1. Let's see who they lost to. Auburn lost to UConn. May have been, that had to be part of a tournament because they played 3 nights in a row. So lost to UConn, opening night of the tournament by 6. And UConn's, of course, a monster as well. 11-1 night, it scored 972, allowed 779. So remember, it's a fantastic D/O, defense divided by offense. 0.8 is crazy good. Crazy good. Look at Alabama, 0.88. Arkansas, 0.86. Here's Auburn, 0.80. But you're playing a team that's just out of this world. Let's go look at Auburn. And Auburn, we have number 10 in the nation. Okay, so that's how much we think of Auburn. I don't think that you're going to find many computer polls that has Auburn this high. Maybe so, I don't know. But that's pretty good. Auburn, number 10. But they got LSU. So let's get back to the game. So this game is at Auburn. We like LSU to prevail by 12. That's how much the computer loves LSU. Vegas has this, or had it, at 3.5. Auburn laying 3. Auburn is giving this gigantuan monster 3.5. Let's see if that's changed. It's still 3.5. So puts us on the other side of the line. So it's now a money line opportunity. So we think LSU is going to win big, really. 12 points against a really good team like Auburn. That'd be pretty amazing if that happened. But we shade them in green when we see this one on the other side of the line. That's a money opportunity. So, if we win the game, so we're making 2 plays here. We're betting LSU on the money line, and then we're playing it straight up. Okay. So straight up, it's 2-1. You get your money back. You put $100 on LSU and they win. You get your $100 back plus another 100. But on the money line, it's far bigger than that. And I'm going to try and do something here on the fly. We're going to look at the money line for this game. It should be kind of low. LSU. Now that's right. Okay. The money line is, okay, you bet on LSU, you give them $100, you're going to get 115 back. That's very low. It's like discouragingly low. What's the point? So, you like to see like Eastern Illinois, if they won against Morehead State, it's 1,200 you get back. You give them $100, you're going to get 1,200 back. That's got our attention, but we never take Eastern Illinois to win. Stranger things have happened. So that's the big game of the night right now is LSU and Auburn. We think it's going to go this way. If it wins, we get $115. Okay, Kentucky and Missouri. So we kind of talked about Missouri, not a good team. Kentucky has been started out kind of cold, but they're getting a little warmer now. 19.5 was the line. It's still 19.5, Kentucky at home. So we're keeping our play here, 19.5. Yeah, this looks like a postponement. Indiana, UNC, Asheville. Well, it hasn't come off the board, but there's still no line. That's a 4 p.m. West Coast time game. So Vegas still has time to handicap this one. I'm also looking at another one. I'm looking at VegasInsider.com. Let's see if they got a line on this. It may have come off the board because it's not even showing as a game. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. May have come off the board, but for now, there's really not much we can do. There's no line on this game. I'm not going to do a special recording just for this one game, but it looks like it's coming off the board. But you're just going to have to trust me. It's on tape, 75-50. That's our predicted score. It's 25-point victory for Indiana uh, on tape. So if that line gets made up, we will play accordingly based on the computer pick. Just want to get it out there. Okay, Northeastern at Elon, giving 4.5, according to Vegas. It's now 3.5. So we're going to take that. We're going to modify this pick, and we're going to take those 3.5 because we're savvy gamblers, and we didn't pull the trigger and put our money down last night on this one. We're doing it now though. So we say it's going to be a 15-point game. So Northeastern is a play, and they just sweeten the pot a little bit for us here. Furman and Samford still on the board. Looks like it's Furman at home, 9.5 to Samford. So that went down. Okay, so let's see. So we say it's an 8-point game. So we took the dog. Okay, and clearly, so now it's what did I say, 9? 9.5. Now it's a 9.5. You see how this works? So the betting public sees this and says, yeah, no, Samford's going to be competitive in this game. And it moved the line from 11.5 down to 9.5. And maybe some smart money came in and moved that line too. At that big of a jump, I'm willing to bet smart money is on this. I'm going to keep this 11.5. I'm going to keep this dog because if I take the 9.5, it still doesn't flip the pick. We're still taking Samford. Now we have less points. So we're getting all the points we can take. And I like this play just for the fact that the line moved that much really seals the deal for me. This is going to be a good competitive game. It's not going to be an 11.5-point victory for Furman based on what we're seeing here. So I like this. I like this a lot. In fact, if I could put a little star here, I would, just to remind me. But I'll probably remember. That's a big game. Seton Hall and Providence. Last night, so Seton Hall, I'm telling you folks, they're a monster. Providence is borderline monster. Really, it's going to be a good game. Not LSU Auburn good, but really a good game. So last night, Providence is at home, giving Seton Hall a 0.5 point. Let's see if that's changed. Okay, it's still the same. So we're on the other side of the line. We think Seton Hall is going to win, and we think they're going to win by 9. So we're going to keep this as a money line play. And let's see the payout on that. Seton Hall. That's 120. So Auburn, LSU was 115. This is 120. Not much of a difference. So Vegas is kind of nervous about this, about these two games. Really. Both of these were on the other side of the line. 115, minus 115, minus 120, they see the potential there for it. They don't want to lose too much money. So we like this play. Nothing has changed. So we're keeping Seton Hall. We're playing a money line bet and straight up bet. All right. Vautech and North Carolina. Man, have times changed. North Carolina used to be so good. They're still probably pretty good. I don't see it. Doggone it. Did that game come off the board? Let's look at Virginia Tech. You have to read. You have to type in CBS Sports lingo. So UNC. Okay, it's postponed. It's come off the board. It's N.space Carolina. I'm supposed to remember that. That game has come off the board. Who would want to see that awesome, ACC matchup? Nobody. But hey, chances are someone might get a runny nose out of that affair, and so we just can't that huge responsibility. Wofford and VMI. We gonna let these guys play? So stupid. I'm so sick of it. Okay, Wofford laying 8.5. Ooh, that jumped a lot. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Wofford last night was 11.5. That's a 3-point swing here. Wofford. It's now Wofford at home, laying 8.5 to VMI. So we think it's going to be a 15-point game. Why would we make it hard on ourselves We're savvy gamblers, man. We're going to take that 8.5, which tells me a lot that smart money definitely moved in on that one. Definitely moved in on that one. But I like VMI. I think they're a good team, but Wofford's pretty good. I'll say this: Wofford is a pretty good basketball team, and we think so by 15 over VMI. That's alarming how much that moved, but in our favor. So we're going to keep it. Wagner's good team. St. Francis, Pennsylvania. They field a Division I men's college basketball program. Oh, jerk. Wagner. So it's 7.5. Wagner laying 7.5. So that line moved up. I'd rather beat them by 6.5 than 7.5. So we're going to keep this play, and that's encouraging. Right? That moved in our direction, so that's a good thing. Wichita State, who's good. East Carolina, who's also good. I'm going to say this: Wichita State, who's very good, and East Carolina, yeah, they're a pretty good team. It was Wichita on the road, laying 4.5, and it's still 4.5. So nothing changes. Oh, I didn't make this play. Good thing we're doing this show. We say Wichita State by 10, so we're going to. Sometimes I just I get distracted, I guess. So we're officially on board with Wichita in this game. Toledo, good team. Western Michigan. Toledo's a good team. Just trying to not to be so harsh. 18.5 at home, Western Michigan. Toledo. It's 16.5 now. And I'm not biting. I mean, I'm going to take that. We'll sweeten the pot, but it means nothing to me. It's going to be a blowout of epic proportions. Toledo's a good team. Western Michigan fields a Division I men's college basketball program. Minnesota at Alcorn. I bet you this is off the board. Nope, it's there. Oh, and we got a line. So 19.5 is Minnesota laying 19.5. So I'm physically forced to take Minnesota here because we say it's a 29-point game. And I feel very confident in that. Alcorn is in the SWAC. The SWAC is where bad teams go to die. And there's one or two decent programs. But the SWAC is, you've heard of these teams. You've never seen them in the postseason tournament. Alcorn, all right. I'm resisting to doing this, but I'm not poking fun. I'm just telling you. These teams exist. You've never heard of them. They do exist. The reason you never heard of them is they never get, Alabama A&M, Alabama State, Alcorn, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Bethune-Cookman, Florida A&M. And we've heard of this one, Grambling. We've heard of Grambling. Jackson State, that's where Rice went to school. They actually are one of the better programs. Mississippi Valley State. The higher the number here, the worse the team is, But that's still a pretty high number. But Jackson State's not a bad ball club. They beat Louisiana in the Sun Belt and beat Illinois State. I like Illinois State, but Jackson State beat them at Illinois State. So Jackson State's got some good positive things going for it. Prairie View A&M, Southern U, and Texas Southern. Texas Southern in particular, I like a lot. Southern U, here you see they've got some good wins here. Beat Tennessee State, beat Southeastern Louisiana, and beat Kent State at Kent State. That's a big Mid-American program. Texas Southern beat Florida. That can't be right. That can't be right. What's going on here? What is going on here? Did I have that one wrong? I would have remembered that. Texas Southern. I'm looking at their schedule. Just bear with me for a moment here. They beat Florida, folks, by 15. They beat them 69-54. Holy crap. Florida, what in the world, man? You let Texas Southern waltz into your home court and walk away with a 15-point victory? Shame on you, Florida. God, that's awful. Okay. Yikes. Wow, I'm surprised I didn't remember that. Okay, so Texas Southern's got some game, but we're talking about Alcorn here. 29 point. We're going to take Minnesota. That should be an easy victory for Minnesota. That's a good team. Minnesota's a good team. Texas A&M Central Arkansas. I'm sorry, I deviated there and I lost the bubble on the lines here. So let's get back to what we're supposed to be doing here. Texas A&M and Central Arkansas. And just waiting on the website to catch up. Okay. Okay, there's a line. It's Texas A&M laying 26.5. Ooh, we got a dog here, folks. We said it's a 19-point victory. We're going to take Central Arkansas here because we're crazy like that. And I get accused of not taking the dog enough. So when I get a chance, man, I'm hopping on it. And you can see I am taking heavily the favorites. His computer just likes the favorite. In actuality, what happens is the computer and Vegas are oftentimes on the same page. And so here, for example, Wisconsin, we say 17 and Vegas says 15.5. That's pretty close. It's pretty close, spread between those two. And so oftentimes I'm in the situation where it's a half a point, it's 1 point, and it's always seems to be, the computer just opts for the favorite. Okay, Wisconsin at home to Illinois State, 15.5. Illinois State needs to wake up. They're a better team than they've been playing like. Let's see if so it's 16.5. So Wisconsin laying 16.5. So that moved, and not enough to flip. And I wouldn't anyways because Illinois State is underperforming. I'm not going to get into it. Illinois State is underperforming. We like this play. We're going to keep the 15.5. We're not going to take the 16.5. I'd rather beat them by 15 than 16. So Wisconsin's our play. Memphis and Tulane is still on the board. Tulane getting 10.5. Okay, so that moved further away. We're going to keep that 9.5. 18-point victory from Memphis on the road, and we're gonna keep. Now this game came out of the blue. Kansas and Nevada. When did they win this? Because Nevada was supposed to be playing someone else tonight, but they, with anymore with all these cancellations and postponements, maybe they got out ahead and said we're gonna not. They're on COVID protocol. We're gonna find another opponent. Kansas said we'll play you. So the game's at Kansas. 17.5 is the line. So that moved, and we're not going to take it because we're savvy gamblers. We're going to keep Kansas and 6.5 because it's going to be a 24-point victory for KU. SMU and Tulsa. I meant to put here, folks, 2.5. Everything's always going to be on the half point. Okay, I just did not get the decimal in there. I would never put 25 and it'd be a 10-point game and then take the favorite. Why would I do that? That wouldn't make any kind of sense. So that should have said 2.5. So let's see what it is now. It's now 3.5. We say it's a 10-point victory for SMU on the road. We're going to keep that 2.5. That's our play. SMU. Kansas State and North Florida, no line last night. Let's see. And there is a line today. So that's encouraging. 19.5 is the line. And that's a good team. I like K-State. They've been playing really, really well. Really good victories on the road. Wichita, they beat Wichita State on the road. They had another one that was impressive too. Kansas State's a good team. Not just a football school. So officially, that's our pick. K-State rooting for a rout. Waits in Louisville. I might be the only one in America to not believe in Louisville. I just don't believe in them. At least the computer doesn't. So Louisville given 5.5 at home to Wake Forest. It's 4.5 now. Okay, so it's 4.5. So you can see the betting public move that a full point. Yeah, maybe people are jumping off that Louisville train. We're going to keep that 5.5. We're on the other side of the line. We say Wake Forest is going to win. So again, this is a money line opportunity. And you can see we shade them in green. We got another one coming up down here. So let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 money line plays tonight. And before I went on a break, we had hit 18 money lines. So we like our money line. So that's another possible one right there. Okay, Iowa laying 17.5 to Western Illinois, which is an insult to Western Illinois. They should be insulted. It's still 17.5. Western Illinois is a good team. So we say Iowa wins by 12. Yeah, we like this play. We're going to take the dog here, Western Illinois. I like Western Illinois. They're just a good team. They lost to Omaha, though, which I don't know. Did someone get hurt? Did the coach have an emergency, lobotomy? They were the first one for Omaha. Omaha is not a good basketball team. It wasn't always good, and they lost to them. That would have been one of those 1,200 paybacks on the money line. We saw earlier with Eastern Illinois. Okay, here's Illinois at home to Florida A&M. No line last night. There's a line. No, I don't see the line. What did I say? Illinois? I want to get more data on Illinois, too. It's too bad. I'd like to see them play this out. It is canceled. Just heartbreaker. I tell you what, man. All these cancellations and postponements. I'm self-editing myself right now because it's just so stupid. Self-edit. I'll just leave it at that. Self-edit. Miami, Florida, and NC State. We're just hurting these kids. They don't get a chance to play. Their college basketball. And, we're just hurting the kids and the fans. No one wins. All right. So very interesting what's going on here. So North Carolina State, folks, is not a good basketball team. Okay, officially not on board with the Wolfpack. I can point out the reasons why. I think I want this thing to be 3 hours long. Miami, Florida, nothing spectacular, but they're better than North Carolina State, and it's at Miami. So every reason in the world to take that 5.5, right? But no, computer said no. It's going to be a 3-point victory. So you never take the dog. Scores are, I'm taking the dog here, but let's see what happened. 5.5 last night. It's 2.5. Miami laying 2.5. 2.5. 2.5 flips this. 2.5 flips it. If I take this 2.5, we can now play Miami, and I like that. So it's decision time. Do we do this, or do we play North Carolina State who we can't trust? Folks, I know what I'm doing. It was never a debate in my mind. I watch it just go opposite for me. So we're flipping this pick. We're flipping this pick, and we're taking Miami of Florida to win and cover. All right, we're right on the line there. Right on the line. That takes balls to do what you just saw. But that's what we're doing. I mean, balls to do that. So, but I like that play better. I just can't trust NC State, man. Just can't do it. Villanova, now they maybe got some guys, I don't know, but they've been untrustworthy. All right, you talked me into it. Let's go take a look at NC State. What don't you like about NC State? They're just not a good basketball team. Here they are, pop right up. Okay, so when I say they're not a good basketball, please keep in perspective relative to Miami of Florida, relative to UNC, relative to Notre Dame and Syracuse and all the other great teams in the ACC. This number is much higher. So it's a good quality program, but 920 to 891, relatively speaking, just not a good program. Oklahoma, not a good team. It's an awesome program. Oklahoma State, just down a little bit this year. So Oklahoma State lost. Oklahoma State tournament. That was a tournament. In fact, I should do this too. So anytime there's a tournament, neutral court, I need to designate that by. There's no like at Charleston here. There's no at, and it's not in caps. It's a neutral court, right? Some discernment there. I kind of struggle to beat Texas Southern. No, we know Texas Southern to be a good team. We just proved that. Well, that's a feather in their cap. La Tech, struggle to beat La Tech. They're a good team, but you're North Carolina State, for crying out loud. Nebraska is the North Carolina State of the Big Ten. Okay, 4-point victory. Louisville, they hung with them a little bit. Bethune-Cookman probably should have beat them by more. 10-point game to Purdue, neutral court. Am I talking myself into liking NC State again? No, I'm not, because they lost by 14 to Wright State. Wright State is not a good team. At home, we cast you aside. You don't lose at home to Wright State, and you don't lose at home to Wright State by 14. So NC State, I guess I'm more mad at you than I am. I guess I'm more disappointed in you than I am thinking you're a bad team. That just should not ever happen. So can we trust them? Are you kidding me? Coming off that play? No, we can't trust them. But in 1983, Jimmy V, that was the best story in college basketball, history of college basketball. Love NC State. Just not this game. Villanova and Temple, no line last night. Villanova and Temple. Are you kidding me? Who doesn't want to see this game? Postponed. Because who would want to see that game, right? I tell you what, man. It just infuriates me that we're killing these games. Man, I get mad. I get very angry. Tennessee on the road out. Yes, you're reading this correctly. You're reading this. Tennessee's a great team. Alabama's a great team too. On the road, you're taking Tennessee to win the game. Yeah, I am. Let's see if. So it was 2.5. Alabama laying 2.5 to Tennessee. Let's see if that's changed. It's still 2.5, and I still like this play. I'm telling you, man, Tennessee is a really, really good team. Alabama is going to have the full home court advantage situation intact. If there was ever a game I would have considered doing the home court advantage, this would be it. But here's the thing. I need to do this home court advantage and apply it equally throughout the league, okay? SIU Edwardsville is not getting 8 points at home. Alabama is, right? They're selling out 25,000 seat arenas. Well, SIU Edwardsville is not. So I can't apply 8 points to every home team. I can't apply 5 points to every home team. I just can't do it. So I'm not going to do it. So if this goes south on me, then, I lose a game. I'll lose a bit of money. But I like this play. I'm telling you, Tennessee is really, really good. That's why I say prayers at night. Washington State at home to Washington. I'm not over the moon on Washington State. The computer seems. I'm just disgusted at UW because they got so many things going for them, and they just turn out just a really inferior product. There's no reason why Washington should be this bad at basketball, but they're not good. So Vegas said 13.5. Let's just double check. It's 12.5. Okay, we'll take it because why wouldn't you? We just made it easier for us to win and cover. So that's the plays. We are up to date and current. The computer, for all my bluster, I say I haven't updated this. What I'm going to do is we went 2-7 last night. Not good, 22%. This is going to be December 29th, and I will get this all um, set up. It's not set up right now. Um, and so what my point here is we're going to keep the current night's action on top. So tomorrow it'll say 12:29 down here and 12:28 down here. So we're just picking things back up. We did have some games played earlier. What I did was I could never show you all these teams, right? Let's go in the Conference USA. This is the computer. I was doing it on an Excel spreadsheet, which I could not share. And when I would share my screen, it would lock up my spreadsheet. But the only reason I was doing that is because Google Docs, I can share it, but they didn't have the features that Excel had. And I need to do a circular reference for you spreadsheet folks, because when I enter these games, I'm going to put the game score here, and I'm going to take UAB's OPR. I'm going to slide it in this column. That OPR is going to be in flux, if you will, because UAB's played all these other games, and that's going to change. So UAB's played all these other games. When I put that OPR in here, that's going to change. It's going to change the strength of schedule, and it's going to change my OPR. And that, for fun, watch this. I'm gonna give UAB 100 points here. What I want you to do is watch right here. It takes a little bit of time because it has to recalculate, and it's not done yet. Maybe it is. Okay, you see what happened? The number changed. Okay, it's a computer. It's a spreadsheet. It's going to change and react. Now it changes when I put the score in, and it changes again when I slide that OPR in there. So, and then it changes everything else around it. So the computer has, and here we go. The computer, there's 35 conferences with about a dozen teams each in them who've played at least a dozen games. And they're going to play 30 plus games. So yeah, these calculations take a little bit of time because every single game changes, and the computer has to readjust and fine tune and all that. So I could never show you this before the way it was set up, but now I can. I had to transfer all that information from Excel onto Google Docs and run all the formulas and all that stuff. Well, it took me a good week, man. There was some time, and there's a ton of copy and pasting, but it still took a lot of time to move all that data over here. But this is our functioning computer now. We're going to be inputting the scores here. I'm not even using the old spreadsheet, the Excel version of it. We're just going to stick with Google Docs because it can do everything I needed to do. So why would I have a backup, hard copy backup? This is not cache. It's in the cloud or whatever. And if it does, I'm missing one night's of action on the it'd take me 20 minutes to get caught up. So we've made the change. We're now fully dependent on Google Docs for this contest. So we'll see if we can improve on 2 and 7 last night. It wasn't a happy night at the casino, and we let some money slip through our fingers. But that's going to do it for the pick show. And at some point in time, I should update. I should update this. What is today? Wednesday? All right. So this is the Wednesday 12/29 pick sheet. Just a little oversight. But there you have it. Went through every single game, and we'll see how things go tonight. Hopefully there won't be any more cancellations, and we'll win some money. And that's the ultimate goal here. It's why we're doing this: computer versus Vegas. And 2 and 7, remember, that's against the Vegas lines. So that extra degree of difficulty here. I've done this in the past just to, this thing gets better than 22%. That I can promise you. So anyway, so we're that's our mission tonight, is improve on that. So we're setting the bar a little low. All right, folks, it's been about an hour, really long one, but I hope you got something out of it, and we'll see you tonight. We're going to do some live streaming when the games are going final, and we'll be updating the team profiles, and we'll run the rankings, re-rack the rankings, and see how things played out. So until then, I shall now